As I mentioned earlier, the fig tree appears throughout Scripture, literally and metaphorically. It was literally there in the beginning. After Adam and Eve sinned, what's the first thing they did? Well, they realized they were naked and afraid, and then they clothed themselves with the leaf of the fig tree. They had broad leaves enough to cover certain parts of the body should that be needed. In Deuteronomy 8, God promises the Israelites that he's bringing them into a good land. And as proof of this, he lists the famous 7 species that are in the land, and we're right in the middle, we see fig trees. So wheat, barley, vines, fig trees, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey, which is often believed to be date honey, so date trees as well. In both the Old and the New Testaments, the fig tree is often mentioned together with the vine, and we'll see that as we look at some of those passages a bit later on. So you see the vineyard and the fig tree going, kind of hand in hand together. To sit under one's vine and fig tree then became an expression of peace, of well-being, and prosperity. Back in Deuteronomy 8, God is granting his blessings, and as a example of the blessing are the vine and the fig tree. So he intends to have shalom, peace associated with the fig tree, and that must be juxtaposed against the ominous tone of the passage today. So what is going on here? There's a lack of something that's supposed to bear fruit, and it's supposed to be a blessing, and it turns out to be a curse. And so we'll have to look at what's going on there. There's a curious fact about the fig tree, according to several Bible dictionaries. The unripe fruit of the fig tree appears before the leaves sprout. So in other words, if a tree had leaves, then by definition, it should have had fruit. So when Jesus and the disciples see from a distance a fig tree with leaves, you got to note Mark's detail here. From a distance, the tree had all appearances of being a vibrant, healthy, normal, well-adjusted, fruit-bearing fig tree. But it's as if the leaves are saying to the passerby, look at what a wonderful fig tree I am. But then the next passage says when he came, and I'll include, near, he drew near to it, you inspected it, he found nothing but leaves. There was no fruit on it whatsoever. We find that upon inspection, it's an imposter. We might say the leaves were only for show. And I think you might be seeing where I'm going here. The application is clear here. Like the fig tree, you and I were created as disciples in Jesus to bear fruit. Yet, how often do we trick others and maybe even trick ourselves when we put on a show of how much fruit we're bearing, when in fact we're actually barren, or are we showing off our leaves but actually have no fruit? So there's a potential application of this of the fig tree here.